I was crushing on a guy I had never met. My first sexual experience. I am not going to dodge this question like most people do. My first boyfriend was... Welcome back to my channel again, guys. I hope you guys are doing amazingly well. Now, today's video is going to be a tag video that I've been seeing everywhere, all over the whole place, and I'm sure I'm like the last person to jump on this tag. But today I'm going to be doing the first time tag. Okay, I've seen a lot of people do this all over YouTube, and I decided that today I am going to film my own version. Okay, and if you want to hear my answers to some of these questions, then please keep on watching. Okay, so the very first question is, first app you check when you wake up in the morning. The first app I check when I wake up in the morning has to be Instagram. See, I don't even know. It depends on how I'm feeling when I wake up and when I grab my phone. It just depends on, most times, like the first app I check depends on my home screen, like when I get a notification, when my screen is locked and I see a notification on my screen, that's usually like the first app I click on. So it could range from Instagram to WhatsApp to YouTube Studio. It just all depends on which one, you know, I have a notification for on my phone. Okay, the second question is your first broken bone. I have never had a broken bone. Glory be to Jehovah Jireh for that. Yeah, I have never had a broken bone. The third question is the first foreign country you ever visited. The first foreign country I've ever visited has to be America, the United States of America, when I was 8 years old. Yeah, 8 years old, yes. But that was back in 1997. Yes, when I was 8 years old. That was the first foreign country I ever visited. The fourth one is your first Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook post. My first Instagram post, I can't even remember. I think it was back in 2013 when I opened my Instagram account. I think I went clubbing with some of my girlfriends, and my first Instagram post had to be one of those pictures that we snapped in the club. And then my first tweet, I'm not sure, Twitter was like 2010 or something, so I think my first tweet most likely would be hello Twitter or something. I don't know. See, this thing is ages ago. My first Facebook post was was what, 11 years ago when I joined Facebook, maybe 12 years ago or something. I don't know what it must have been, but I know I used to write a lot of nonsense stuff on Facebook when I was much younger. Things that when Facebook reminds me of them right now, I cringe at how and what I was typing on Facebook then. Your first makeup item. My first makeup item would have to be, quite frankly, a lip gloss back in secondary school. That was probably the first makeup item I ever owned. And I'm not sure. I think it's, oh yeah, I think it's those, you guys know those glossy lip glosses that we used to have back in, wet lips. Yeah, that's what it was called. It had like a roller ball and it was really wet and drippy. Yeah, I think it was called wet lips or something like that. Yeah, so that was my first makeup item. The first plane ride you have ever went on. My first plane ride, oh yeah, I remember. My first plane ride would have to be in 1995. Don't ask me how I remember, guys. My memory is always sharp. It was back in 1995. We're living in Lagos then, but my dad had more or less moved to Abuja. So we took, I don't forget the airline we took from Lagos to Abuja to come and see my dad. I think it was ADC Airlines or something like that, or was it Bellevue? One of those airlines back in 1995, and we came to see my dad, me, my mom, my brother, and my sister. We came to see my dad here in Abuja, and we lodged in Sheraton. It was, I have memories of that experience so much. So yeah, that was my first ever plane ride. The next question is, first time I ever got into trouble at home and school. You guys, I've entered trouble so many times that I don't even know which one was the first time, quite frankly. Maybe at home, entering wahala with my mom. I think the one I can vividly remember, I'm sure I got into trouble at home when I was quite younger, but the one that I remember very well was when I was a teenager, maybe when I was like 12, 13, and my mom found my diary where I used to write a lot of crap. And my mom found my diary. In fact, it was my auntie that was living with us that found the diary and gave it to my mom. So I think that was the first time I ever entered trouble at home, like I can really remember right now. And at school would have to be maybe when I was much younger, maybe I can't remember getting into a fight in school or anything. I can't remember, you guys. Let me just leave it at that. First time you were allowed to put on makeup. The first time I was allowed to put on makeup, I don't think anybody actually like allowed me. Like, I just think I just drew into makeup. I wasn't really wearing makeup like that in secondary school, like that. Senior class, when we are back home on holiday, and even then, what we used to wear, there was no eye pencil and lip gloss. I think, yeah, secondary school, senior secondary school, when I'm on holiday at home, I think my parents just allowed me, maybe because they found out that I was growing up and everything, but it wasn't makeup like what I have on right now. You guys know how makeup was back then. First YouTuber you subscribed to? Ooh. The first YouTuber I subscribed to, I can't remember for the life of me. Probably Patricia Bright or Jenny Jenkins. One of them. Yeah, it had to be one of them. I think it was Jenny Jenkins, yeah. The first time you went shopping on your own. The first time I went shopping on my own would have to be secondary school. One of those times I was on holiday and my mom just said, you know what, go to the market by yourself and buy your things. I think that was probably my SS3 or something. My first boyfriend stroke girlfriend. Okay, I think this applies to me being my first boyfriend. My first boyfriend was... You guys, I started developing feelings for boys early in life. Seriously, I started developing feelings for boys very early in life. I'm talking 12, 13. You know when you have that infatuation kind of feeling for boys, you know. So I want to say, if you guys watched my powder smack challenge with my sister, I actually mentioned the name of my first boyfriend, or who I considered to be my first boyfriend. I was quite young, quite frank. I think we were like, what, 12, 13 or something? But yes, that was I'm not going to call his name obviously, but yes, I think it was like 13. We're like 13, we're age mates, so I think we're like 12 or 13 when we first started dating. Because he's still in secondary school. I went to an all-girls secondary school and he was in a mixed school that was a day school. I was in an all-girls boarding school. So our dating and our relationship was more like letters. We used to send letters to each other. And then when we are at home on holiday, I used to see him once in a while. And yeah, he's still in Abuja right now. We still do see every now and then, and we still say our hellos, and we still greet, we still hug, but that was like old time puppy love, okay? Alright, the next question, my first car. All the times I have watched, people have always given an answer for their first car, but I think this tag is going to be the first tag you're going to watch. And I'm going to tell you that I have never owned a car in my life. Yes, I'm 31 years old and I still don't have a car of my own. And yeah, that's just me being honest and me being truthful. So no, I don't have a first car yet. I've never had a first car. So that's about that. My first celebrity crush. I think it was Bow Wow. Yeah, I think Bow Wow, when we were young and loving Bow Wow, then when he came out with Bow Wow Wow, yippee yo, yippee yay. Yeah, I think that was like my first crush, my first celebrity crush per se. My first cooking experience, oh my god, I remember this one so well. I was in secondary school, but I was in like junior secondary school, and I was home on holiday from school, and my mom and dad obviously went to work. My dad usually brings my kid sister back home from school every day, and the help at the time was also going to school, so there was nobody to make rice that day in the house, and I was actually told, I was given the instruction to make the rice, jollof rice, that day. This was something I had never done in my life before. I hadn't really made any major food like that before, so I did not allow the tomato to cook. I mixed the tomato, the raw. I literally left the tomato on the fire for what, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and I mixed it with the rice and added the maggi and the salt and everything. And I'm sure you can imagine how that tasted. It was horrible. Looking back at it right now, it was horrible. And I remember when my dad ate that food, he was like, who cooked this food? What happened? So yes, that was my first cooking experience. It was disastrous, but that only pushed me to want to know how to cook better, and ever since then, any kind of rice is my absolute specialty. The next one, my first crush. My first crush would have to be, I told you that I had crushes from way back when. My first crush would have to be when I was in JSS 3. I was crushing on a guy I had never met. It was my classmate's brother, my classmate's cousin, back in secondary school. And then she would tell me that, oh, her cousin saw my picture and he likes me, and I was crushing on a guy that I had never met, never spoken to, nothing. His name was Monday. That was even the funniest part of everything. His name was Monday and I was crushing on him. And I don't forget the very first visiting day that he came to see this my classmates, and then after my mom now left, I was not able to see him. And he gave me a rose. He gave me like this fake flower rose, and I don't even know what else he gave me. But that was about the only time I ever saw him. That was about the once and only time I ever set my eyes on Monday. And that was it. So I would say that was my first crush in life, quite frankly. My first ever boyfriend, I have already answered that when I was 12, 13, thereabouts. My secondary school bubble. My first ever cell phone. My first ever cell phone was a Siemens phone. I will leave a picture of it on the screen if I find it. But when GSM came out, I think it was my dad's old one. My dad had used the phone, and then when he bought me my first SIM card, I don't forget, it was a Glow SIM card. He gave me that phone, you know, he gave me that phone to be using, but I don't think I used that phone for long because I think it developed problem along the line and I had to change phones. So yeah, my first cell phone was a Siemens phone. I'll leave it on the screen if I can find it. The next question, my first ever date. Can I actually really remember the first time like a guy took me out, a date kind of thing? Can I really remember? It was definitely well after secondary school, maybe university. Yeah, maybe university. Or right before university. That space in between secondary school and university. I think that was like the first time I went on an actual date. An actual date. My first ever girlfriend. Okay, I don't know if this applies to me, so I'm going to skip that. My first ever kiss. Hey, my first ever kiss. You guys, I can't remember. Please don't ask me. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. I was probably a kid or something. Please don't. I was not a bad child, please. But my first ever kiss, I don't even know who was my first ever kiss, you guys. Maybe primary school or something. My first fear would have to be the fear of heights and the fear of falling. And that was because as a child, I used to dream a lot about falling. I used to have those dreams where you feel like you're falling from a building, and then when you wake up, like in real life, it's like you're still falling, you know. So I think that was what ignited my very first fear in life. So my first fear is heights and falling from a very tall building, something like that. My first friend in college. Okay, I would think this means university. My first friend in university would have to be my friend Chisom. We were classmates. We met in class and we became friends. So I think that would be my very first friend in uni, and we're still friends up till now. She was the one that also catered for Mia's first birthday. I will leave the cards here on Mia's first birthday if you haven't seen it, here or here. Yeah, usually here. First heartbreak. Hey, heartbreak. Quite frankly, have I really gotten my heart broken per se? Like, heartbreak. Somebody broke my heart. See, I can't remember anyone back then, but the one I clearly remember was when my heart got broken before I got married to Jesse. You guys know the story time about the guy I was supposed to marry, and they told him I was not his wife. If you miss that story time, I'll link it up here. Go watch it. But yeah, I think that was like my first ever real heartbreak. Yeah. My first Instagram post, I've already answered that question. My first internet activity. My first internet activity would have to be opening my email address, my Yahoo mail address, and it's a mail address I still use up until today. My first job was back at Airtel. I did my NYSC at Airtel, but before I did my NYSC there, I actually had a temp job there before I got my call-up letter. So I was doing a temp job there. I was being paid 30,000 naira. Then it was big money. So a lot of people, it was big money then. But yeah, that's how much I was earning there, 30K before. And even when I went to camp for NYSC camp and I came back to do my PPA there, it was still 30K that I was being paid. And to a lot of coppers then, it was a lot of money. That was back in 2010, 2011. So it was good money that time. The next question, my first language would have to be English. Not Igbo, not Asaba, it's English. My first love. My first love will have to be my first boyfriend, because in my head, I thought I loved him. I don't know if it was real love. I think that should be my first love. My first pet, I have never owned a pet personally. So no, I can't answer that question. My first piercing and when did I get it? My piercings on my ears, which were given to me, or rather, yeah, which I got when I was a baby. I don't have any other piercings on my body or on my ears. It has to be just these ones that I was given when I was born. The next one, my first sexual experience. I am not going to dodge this question like most people do, but obviously I'm not going to give you details on how it went. My first sexual experience would have to be when I was in university, my first year in the university. So yes, I am just going to leave it at that. Yeah, I've said enough. My first swear word. My first swear word would have to be damn. D-A-M-N. I think that is a swear word. So damn. It should. Some people consider it a swear word. So I would say that it was damn. My first tattoo. I have never had any tattoo. My first thought today. My first thought today when I woke up was how I was going to do my skipping for the day. So yes, I have finally jumped on this skipping fit train, and I did 500 skips today. I only started doing it yesterday, and I did 500 skips today, and I feel so proud of myself. First time on a plane, I have already answered this. My first time on a ship, I have never been on a ship in my life before. My first time on a train would have to be in the UK, 2013. Yeah, in the UK. My first toy, I can't remember. Maybe something my parents bought for me when I was a baby or something. I don't remember. My first tweets, I don't remember. My first YouTube video, whew! My first YouTube video was how to do blue eyeshadow the right way or something like that. It was one stupid. It was 2016 though. It wasn't even that far back, but I cringe every time I watch that video. It's like, maybe I should react to that video. If you guys want to see a reaction to my first ever YouTube video, then leave it in the comment section below. But yeah, it was something about blue eyeshadow, and looking back, that video was just nah. My online profile picture, I guess. Okay, my first online profile picture, I don't remember. That must be Facebook or High Five. I'm not talking about Facebook. No, High Five. You guys know when High Five came out? Yeah, it was High Five before MySpace came out, then Facebook took over. So my High Five profile picture, I don't remember, but I'm sure it was one picture that's, looking back at it now, it's like, what were you thinking? The first book I remember reading, I used to read a lot of Enid Blyton children's books back when I was young. So I think it should be one of the Enid Blyton books that I read. Yeah. The first concert I ever attended, I don't remember. It would be when the stadium in Abuja opened some years ago. My dad took us there. There was an opening ceremony and some artists performed and everything. So I should think like that was my first actual concert. The first movie I remember seeing, I don't remember. Maybe Living in Bondage. The very first Living in Bondage. Yeah. But when we watched it back then, I obviously didn't know Jack. So, you know, I had to even watch it like recently to even like remember everything that happened in the movie. So yeah, probably Living in Bondage. The first person I talked to today, I'm guessing this question is talking about the first person I spoke to on my phone today. That would have to be my sister. Yeah. The first person that ever broke my heart, I would still say is the person I dated before Jesse. Or see, there were some other people that did some strong things to me in this life. The first person you text when something exciting happens would have to be my husband, Jesse, or my sister, Melba. The first text I sent today, let me go and check because I don't remember. I haven't sent any text message today actually. I have sent WhatsApp messages, and the first one will have to be my sister. If it's about WhatsApp chats, my sister. The first thing I do every morning, I'm not even going to lie, is grab my phone. Yeah, that's it's a bad habit, but that's the first thing I do every morning. The first thing I do when I get home, take off my wig. If I'm wearing a wig, I yank it off. That's the first thing I do when I get home. The first time I ever got drunk, this one, the first time I ever got drunk was in university. My boyfriend and some of his friends were having a party in one of his friends' houses. If you went to UNN then, you know that guys mostly lived in BQs of like staff houses and everything. So they planned a party and they were mixing drinks, like they mixed drinks, and they actually mixed raw ethanol, you guys, with drinks. And me, I was just having a good time sipping on that drink, and before I knew what was happening, you guys, my head and my entire world was spinning around. I don't know how I ended up in his room that night and how I slept and woke up in the morning. I don't know till today, but I do know that I thought I was going to die that day. So yeah, that was the first time I know I ever really got drunk. Yeah. The first wedding I attended would have to be my mom and dad's wedding. I'm going to tell you, How? My mom and dad's wedding, March 1989, because I was born in July and I was already baking in my mom's belly. So that's the first wedding I ever attended. When did you go to your first party? It have to be when I was a child, when I was a kid. You guys know that parents would always take you for 1-year-old birthdays, 5-year-old birthday parties, 10-year-old birthday parties. So one of those parties was obviously the very first one I ever attended. When did you have your first sleepover? Sleepover. Probably was university. Maybe the first time I ever slept in my boyfriend's house. That was university. Yeah, that was university. The first time I ever got a speeding ticket. That's not a thing in Nigeria. It's not for us. Then the very last one, the first time I got into a fist fight. Have I ever really fought anybody like dish? Have I ever fought anybody with my fists, like fist fights? Quite frankly, I don't think I have. I'm that gentle and I'm that sweet. Alright guys, those are all the questions in this tag. Did you guys enjoy watching this video? If you haven't jumped on this tag yet and you're a YouTuber, you should totally jump on this tag, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed watching, as always, do not forget to give the video a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe. As always, subscribing is free, you guys. I don't know who thinks subscribing costs you money or you're going to debit your account or something. It's free. All you have to do is just click the button, bim, subscribed, end of story, finish, and that way you'll be able to know whenever I upload a new video. So yeah guys, leave a comment down below as always, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Mwah. Bye.
Dirty wine, man a grind, say she give me dirty wine. Say, girls them a whining, them me grinding, I don't think so.